Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot. The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by MediaClip, Advertech Printing, and Independent Photo Imagers.
Hello again and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Wes Towers, who's coming to us from Melbourne, Australia. And Wes is the founder of Uplift360, where he's going to give us practical business tips and SEO and getting your business found. Hey, Wes, how are you today?
Really well, Gary. Nice and early start for me. It's my start of the day and your end of the day. So coming to you from the future.
There you go. So you've got a very different background than most of my audience, and that you came from the construction industry. And as we were talking before the show, we're kind of saying, how do we make that relate? But actually it directly relates because you were wrestling with AI a few years ago and its impact on your business. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so well, we do websites and SEO for the construction trades and construction. We call them tradies here in Australia.
Mhm.
But I got a business valuation 3 years ago, so it came back a rude shock to me. So it was far lower than I anticipated. And in the massive report that the valuer gave me, he said AI was a massive threat to my entire industry. And it was 3 years ago, so it was pretty early days with everyone just sort of realizing, hey, this
Right.
could transform a lot of businesses. And so
Sure.
the value came down. So it was a real kick in the teeth, really, to say my business wasn't worth anywhere near what I thought it was.
Mhm.
But it was the catalyst in a lot of ways to start transforming my business and introducing AI. So what I did was took the tools and technologies and implemented some of them into my business and
Mhm.
just had the most profitable year ever. So transforming the business in that way. So took the threat as an opportunity, and things are going really well now. But things are changing all the time, so it's an
Mhm.
exciting and terrifying time to be in business.
So, I mean, I think my audience will be able to tell you, hey, I know how AI is going to affect my business with generative AI and things like that, but how was AI going to affect your business or in your industry?
Yeah, well, the valuer didn't put much detail on precisely what he thought was going to happen, only the point that he didn't know what was going to happen. And I suppose everyone was kind of talking the first sort of jobs that might go are your programming tech jobs, because, AI can do that really, really well. It can do content writing.
Mhm.
It can do content writing. I don't know whether it's good or bad. It depends on how you prompt
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but the programming, it's doing really well, and that was foreseen a long time ago. 3 years ago. That's a long time ago in
Yeah, yeah,
AI
yeah,
world.
exactly. Yeah.
He was right. He was right in a lot of ways. If I had have stayed doing what I was doing the same way, probably eventually I'd be made redundant. So some of the things, as I said, you mentioned before, we do SEO, but we're calling it search everywhere optimization because
There you go.
it's a different beast now. I think you had a SEO guy on recently and touched on some AI.
Hmm.
But people are just searching in whole new ways. I mean, for me, I jump on ChatGPT if I'm researching something and I
Sure.
talk to my phone, and we're searching in full sentences because we know the tools and technology understand full sentences. We're not just searching plumber Melbourne. We're searching for, I want a plumber who can fix a toilet that's leaking. This is the brand. How do I do it? If I can't do it, who's the best person to
Right.
come in and fix it? Those sorts of things. So whole conversational, which is exciting. It's almost making us more human, humanizing us. We've got to think about conversations rather
Mhm.
than just keyword phrases and shoving them into your website. So
That's interesting because I think people were kind of trained to search almost thinking about keywords, right? I want to search for a
yeah.
photo book, the hardcover, and they're searching for keywords as opposed to, like you said, more of a conversational aspect of that.
Yeah, 100%. So back in the day, you used to do a lot of research to find the keywords that people are most
Hmm.
searching for, and then
Right.
you would target those keywords and then you would track them and you would see where you're going, where you're ranking in Google, and you'd give a report to the client, and they'd be
Hmm.
happy if the rankings were improving and the traffic was improving and all that sort of stuff. But everyone's traffic is dropping, and you're
Yeah.
not necessarily getting clicks for the phrases, and the phrases are completely different. They're not just your keyword, your traditional
Right.
keyword. They're full sentences. So
Sure.
incredibly hard to track and measure. I mean, I had a client 2 weeks ago now. He found out by accident. Well, he found out because he spoke to the client and said, "Hey, how did you find us?" And they said, "We found you on ChatGPT. We were searching for the very best service offering in Australia." This is a client a long way away. It's about a 2 hour flight, 2 or 3 hour flight. So not even the local business, but they wanted the very best in Australia. And he came up as in ChatGPT
Mhm.
because he's, the search everywhere optimization strategy. So, but for us, we couldn't really measure that. Only that he spoke to the client. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah,
So, when you mean by search everywhere, I mean, as we've been talking to various people about SEO and things, we are finding that Google is becoming less relevant and it's impacting what they're doing. Of course, they've got Gemini and they're trying different things. How do you optimize then for AI search?
yeah. The good news is the similar strategies work for your traditional SEO as do the AI
Hmm.
showing up in the large language models. You want quality content. You want a website that's built so it's fast loading and the tech is all the foundational aspects are strong. That's the obvious, but the message is the key. So, and there's a couple of aspects to consider when you're thinking about your message. So it's your voice, so how you say what you're saying, but also your message.
Hmm.
And both of these things have to be uniquely yours. And that's where a lot of people are going wrong. They're just jumping on their preferred AI platform and they realize they've got to publish content to be found. So they just go straight to the tool and they let the tool dictate what the content is, the
Right.
message and the voice, and it's just generic. It's just the average of what everybody else is saying. But none of us want to be average. We want to be exceptional in our field.
Hmm.
So you've really got to bed down your style guide of exactly how you write your content. If you are using these tools,
Right.
your own voice and but your own language, the particular phrases of how you talk, but your unique message. And so whatever that unique aspect is to your business, and that what humanizes your business effectively,
Hmm.
your unique thoughts and feelings and those human elements,
Hmm.
put them in as prompts, build a really strong, solid style guide,
Hmm.
produce the content that way as a first draft because you still got to check it because it might get, even with those really solid foundations, it
Right.
still might get it wrong. And you got to massage in your case studies and anything that is information gain that you can add value that
Right.
no one else can. So your unique case studies or examples or stories, storytelling is a fantastic thing, it's particularly when they're your unique experiences.
But when you come from a outlook where say you're more production orientated, like many of my listeners are, they run a photo lab, print shop, PSP or whatever, they may have trouble isolating the story, right? They just say, I have this
Yeah.
equipment and it does these things, right? And I print on
Yeah.
this kind of paper and I use this kind of ink, right? And so, what would you suggest to somebody in that position to like humanize that story?
Yeah, so I mean, the end client or the customer is always interested in the outcome. So not necessarily the process, or unless it's a DIY solution. So then they're interested in the step by step, but the outcome that people are trying to achieve, they're still exciting. I mean, I mentioned that it's different for a photographer business, but I mentioned the plumber because we work for construction
Sure.
clients mostly, but a plumber, he might have a blog post about how to, I mentioned fixing a toilet. He might have a blog post about toilets and how to fix them and that sort of thing. Incredibly boring content, unless you've got a leaky toilet and it's causing you massive problems. Then all of
Right.
a sudden that content is
Right.
really valuable.
Right.
So it'll be the same in every industry, but photography it's an exciting field as well. So you've got the distinct advantage that you can show examples and
Right.
some of the process might be helpful. Some people are really they'll geek out on process, and others will just want to see what's the end product. So
Right.
by producing masses of content within your blog or your news or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
is a great way to have all that because they'll find the piece that's interesting to
Right.
them. They're not going to read every word on your website that's for sure.
Sure. Yeah, and probably shouldn't, right? And so what are I
Yeah.
mean, I have found sort of an uptick in people like really relying on AI generated content for their website because it is so easy. But like
Yeah.
you said, it's that weird sort of phraseology, sort of like a faux enthusiasm that is just so insincere. But if you're
Yeah.
not a good copywriter and you don't have someone handy like yourself to help, do you say use that as a start and then edit it heavily? Because I think that's where a lot of people have trouble is starting.
Yeah. Well, so I wrote a book 10 years ago now. And so, I'm not a writer, but I wanted to write a book and share some of my thoughts, and I enjoyed it. But everyone I spoke to in the field, so I sort of talked to a lot of people, how do you structure a book? How do you write a book? They said you just got to get to your first terrible draft. So
Right.
you just want to get your first terrible draft done as quickly as you can, all your thoughts dumped into the page. Well, think about the AI content as your first terrible draft. So
Right.
you've got something on paper, your thoughts, and
Right.
how you get to that point. You want to be the master of the AI, not the other way around. So what mean by that is you want it to be your ideas.
Right.
So even if you were to pick up your phone, I use ChatGPT and speak to the phone my ideas, and they're kind of messy and not really well articulated, but it will start to articulate them and put them in a sequence and a structure
Hmm.
that just is a refined version of my ideas, not their ideas, because it's just generic if it's the AI being the master and dictating what the ideas are.
So when you said you had a client who queried a customer, right? How do you suggest other people do that? Talk to customers, get feedback from customers, because there's a lot of ways people get feedback right now. There's,
Yeah.
reviews and things like that. But
Mm.
what are some of the ways people can get more realistic impressions from their customers?
Yeah, well, this is I think the exciting part of AI forcing us to be more human and engage in conversations. It's not a linear path the way people
Sure.
find businesses now. I mean, even with my experience talking to new people who make an inquiry, I always try and find out how they found us.
Right.
They used to be really clear. They'd say, "Oh, we found you on Google. We found you on, someone referred you, found you on
Mhm.
socials, whatever the case may be."
Sure.
Now they kind of don't really know because they've had touch points. They've probably seen me on socials, but they Googled me and they probably chat, we're talking to their chat GPT. There's they don't really know because there's just so many touch points coming from all different angles. And that's what I'm sort of talking about search everywhere optimization. You kind of get a sense of where they first found you, but they don't
Mhm.
really remember because there've been a few touch points in the meantime. But I love the aspect of having real conversations with
Hmm.
real humans. I'm a relational kind of guy. So, whilst I've introduced AI massively into the process of the business,
Hmm.
um, it's freed up a lot of time so I can engage with the clientele
Sure.
to a greater level and just build those solid relationships. I think people like to buy from people and people that they know, like, and trust. So I think that's the real goal, humanizing your brand, but humanizing your business and
Mhm.
keeping it relational. I think that'll set.
Now, you said you just came off your best year doing this, when some people would say that AI was going to put you out of business. Um,
Yeah,
i-
I know.
is that because you took the feedback from your evaluator from 3 years ago, or what was the pivot point for that?
Yeah, 100%. So he didn't tell me why he thought it was a threat or what, but it was a real motivator. Say you, no, you're wrong. I'm going to harness AI. I'm going to find out what he's
Mm.
talking about, what that means, what I can introduce without losing the core values of the
Mhm.
business and how we do it. So I can foresee that the way in which we get to the end result may change, but the end result
Mhm.
will remain the same. So the outcome that clients are looking for
Mhm.
when they come to us,
Right.
that'll remain consistent. So we just have to stay a little bit nimble in this time of significant transition, which will, I don't know how it'll continue for the foreseeable future. But to remain
Mhm.
solid on the values and find the streamlined approach with some of this tech that's coming through.
How has your clientele changed? Have you gotten to different types of clients since you made this change? How has that come about?
Yeah, I've always done websites and SEO. I did it for a broad range of clients. We made the decision to niche more closely to the construction and trades
Sure.
businesses, purely because most of our best clients were in that field. We still take on clients outside that field who were referred to us because
Hmm.
we've been around doing this a long time. And the similar principles apply across industry. It's
Right.
just that we've gained a lot of knowledge in certain niches. Yeah, it probably forced me to think about, okay, what's an ideal client look like? How do
Hmm.
we attract more of that ideal? So I think if you go for the ideal, you'll get others by accident anyway, and
Hmm.
that keeps life exciting and
Hmm.
fun, and different opportunities to work on different things
Hmm.
is exciting, to keep things fresh, and even for the team developers and so on,
Hmm.
keeping their lives exciting, as
Hmm.
well. But yeah, if you focus on the very best, you get the others by accident, I think, and that's what we did. So
Yeah,
AI has
because I
helped.
find that interesting because like in our industry, what you find is people are always looking for, I want that new clientele. I want that new market. I want the people who aren't shopping from us. And I would say neglect their existing customers, but they don't optimize for them. But I think what's going to be happening now with some of the tools that are out there is people are going to be should be honing more closely on their core clients. And like you said, there's niches within those niches within those areas that you can
Yeah.
maximize. And then other people will discover you.
Yeah, well, that's right. And so it's the more niche you can get, the quicker you can do work because you know roughly what the end client is needing, and you've
Right.
learned a few things that are really suited to them. So, but it can be boring. So I think in creative fields, and my field is creative too, designing and so on.
Sure.
Photography is creative. The people in these creative industries are obviously creative people. So you got to get that balance right between keeping people excited and doing fresh things and new things and so on.
Right.
But having so that's good for the human motivations,
Right.
but also the business aspect of systematizing things so you get an outcome fast and
Hmm.
profitably. There's always that tension. That the truth in the tension, I think, is something we all hold
Hmm.
in business.
So let's talk a little bit about like what people can do to grow their business, right? So I imagine a lot of your companies are fairly decent size, your clients are fairly decent size, but what do you do with a smaller company who wants to look big, who wants to come across as, I would say more full featured than they are, but need to tell a bigger story?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll for those smaller clients, we'll sort of come alongside. So as a big company, we're probably doing a lot of the grunt work for them. But
Hmm.
for a smaller company who wants to amplify their message
Hmm.
online, there might be aspects that they can take care of themselves. So
Sure.
we'll do some of the even the content writing for them, using their voice, and tell them it's a quick draft. But sometimes I'll just record screen while I'm doing it
Hmm.
for them and show them exactly how I got to that point, and they use that as a tutorial,
Sure.
to do some of it themselves, and just setting themselves up
Hmm.
with the tricks that streamline things.
Hmm.
Uh, there's always a risk. There's always been the way that tiny micro businesses have wanted to look bigger than they are.
Right.
But I think there's a real advantage and power in the small micro business because you're dealing with the founder. So I would say use your genuine strengths. The client's dealing with the person who really cares because it's their
Right.
business. They're not
Yeah.
dealing with some junior who's only just come into the
Hmm.
industry and doesn't really want to be there.
Hmm.
So, there's advantage, strengths, and weaknesses. I would say zero in on what's uniquely you, and amplify that message because you'll attract the right people that way.
Because I think one of the things businesses tend to do is they tend to say, I am only this. And they tend to be not necessarily dismissive, but they're almost envious of bigger competitors who can do more things, right? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
okay to be just that if you're the best at whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, and so niching is really powerful in that you can be the expert in a small niche when you're a small company, but you
Mm.
can't be the best in every field. So,
Right.
and that's the beauty of, I mean, for my own business, we've won some massive clients purely because we're really specific. We've got a bunch of steel companies. So like that sort of in the construction field, but um, steel companies all around the world requesting that we do the website purely because they know we've done it before and we do an exceptional job in that field. And
Right.
now we kind of understand the industry.
Right.
Um, if I was a generalist, I would never have got those big clients
Right.
because why would they choose me? That it would be so difficult to compete against the big guys in
Mhm.
that space. So
Right.
yeah.
What are like the top three things people should be looking for when they want to start a search everywhere optimization strategy? Like the first things that they need
Yeah.
to pinpoint as the things they should immediately fix.
Yeah, so search everywhere optimization, it's obviously overwhelming because everywhere there's a lot of places, a
Right.
lot of
Yeah. You got your
places you could.
YouTube, you got your social media, you got your search engines and all these things. Yeah.
Yeah, so you really want to focus on the platforms that are the best match for your industry and brand. Put most of your attention on those important things. So if it's a B2B business, then you probably want to be LinkedIn. But if you're B2C, you might be more Facebook or the Meta platforms. So you put most of your attention on the platforms that work best
Right.
for your industry, but you can use tools like Publer or lots of other tools to syndicate this same message out to multiple platforms. So you're streamlining process
Hmm.
that way. So there's lots of platforms you can post on, but your website, I believe, should be the foundation. So probably number
Okay.
one, you requested three. Focus on your website because it's the one territory, it's your space. You own that space, you control all the messaging. Everywhere else pretty much is noisy because everyone else is there and there's
Right.
distraction and people will be
And they may
look.
even be paying more for keywords and all these other things that can affect search, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So I mean, there's so much noise out there online. So
Mhm.
ideally, you'll attract them out there, but they'll eventually come. If some people are saying the websites won't be a thing because you won't need them anymore, I don't believe that to be true because it's your digital shop front still. So
Yeah.
if people want to make a transaction or buy something, they're going to go to a physical shop, a physical location to make the transaction, or they're going to go to your digital
Mhm.
shop front.
People are
Even
really
purely
saying
because
websites are going to go away. That's interesting. I've not heard.
some people have said that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that
less.
seems to me like it's a little detached from reality, I think.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, there's only a lot of the younger crew use TikTok and so on. So you can be endlessly scrolling and you might be featuring on TikTok, but you're only there for a second, you know? So
Right.
you've only got that moment of engagement and you can't even click through to find out more really. Well, in TikTok, some of the and Instagram, other
Yeah,
platforms, you can click through. But
sure.
try to get your message out there as much as you
Hmm.
can in the core areas. So that would be, so number one would be website. Number two would be getting your message to the platforms that make best sense to you.
Hmm.
But number three would be having a compelling message that other people want to share. That's the real goal. If you're doing something exceptional, other people might want to share it. That's useful to people. So for
Right.
you, you're doing a podcast. That's massively shareable because it's adding true value to lots of people. So people will share it because it's truly valuable
Hmm.
and it's getting your personal brand out there and your business brand and everything like that. So making that content that's shareable is a real would be the third thing that I would say is really important to be found everywhere.
Cool. So where can people go for more information and learn about what you do and to find out more great tips?
Yeah, well, the our website. No, I just said websites are the most
A
important thing.
website is a good place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, and from the website uplift360.com.au,
Hmm.
we're Australian, so .au is the best place, and you can find social media platforms as well
Hmm.
in the at the bottom of the website. So, and even my personal LinkedIn is on the links there, so I connect with anyone if anyone reaches out. So you can book a meeting with me if you want to on the website, or you can connect on the social platforms. That'd be great.
Sounds good. Listen, Wes, it's great to talk with you. Thanks for your time and your expertise. I learned a couple things. I didn't realize websites are going away, so I better better
No, that's
find something else
that's
to do. Anyway, I'll talk.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.